These Viet Cong are elusive. You can't see them. All you can do is hear the bullets as they come at you. They've just moved out on a line to assault this position, hitting it with everything they've got.
Vietnam. The year is 1966. In the relentless heat of the tropics, two men fight an invisible war. No loud battlefield, no explosions. Only patience, silence, and the deadly precision of a rifle. Marine sniper Carlos Hathcock, the white feather, lies hidden in the jungle with his spotter, Roland Burke. They are hunting a man who has already killed many Marines. Cobra, one of the most feared North Vietnamese counter-snipers. In this duel, only one will survive. To understand who Carlos Hathcock was, you have to go back to the beginning. Born in 1942 in Little Rock, Arkansas, he grew up in modest circumstances. As a child, he learned to hunt, not for sport, but to put food on the table for his family. With his small .22 caliber J.C. Higgins single-shot rifle, he roamed the woods. He imagined himself as a soldier. He hunted imaginary enemies, practiced camouflage and patience. These skills would one day save his life and make him a legend. At just 17 years old, he enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps. His passion for shooting soon led him to competitions. He won numerous awards, including the prestigious Wimbledon Cup, the pinnacle of long-range shooting. As the war in Vietnam escalated, Hathcock volunteered. In 1966, he joined the 1st Marine Division Sniper Platoon, stationed at Hill 55 near Da Nang. He carried a simple trademark, a white feather in his bush hat, a bold statement. The North Vietnamese soon called him Du Kich Long Trong, the white feather sniper. Hathcock quickly became a legend. His accuracy, discipline, and ability to remain motionless in the jungle for days made him a feared opponent. The North Vietnamese army placed a $30,000 bounty on his head, an astronomical sum. By comparison, bounties for other American snipers typically ranged from $8 to $2,000, but Hathcock remained undeterred. He later said, "If I stop, they'll kill our boys. It's my job." Several times, North Vietnamese sniper teams tried to hunt him down, but Hathcock survived and took them out instead. One of his most dangerous adversaries was Cobra, a highly skilled North Vietnamese sniper armed with a Mosin Nagant 9130 with a scope. In the days leading up to their fateful encounter, Cobra had killed several men from Hill 55, some right inside their sleeping quarters. For Hathcock, it became personal. When a fellow gunnery sergeant was killed by Cobra's shot, Hathcock vowed, "I will get him, no matter how long it takes." Together with his spotter, Roland Burke, he set out. Under the cover of darkness, they left the base and slipped into the dense, humid jungle. Both men wore camouflage and face paint, nearly invisible. Their rifles were loaded, and every sound was avoided. Soon, they found their first clues. A flattened patch of grass suggesting a sniper's position. But Hathcock was suspicious. The spot was too obvious, likely a trap. He decided to circle around the area. With extreme caution, the two Marines crawled through the thick underbrush, sometimes moving only inches per minute. For hours, they followed subtle signs. Mud traces on leaves, small drag marks in the soil, faint lines where clothing had brushed against the undergrowth. Hathcock noticed a gully in the ground, carved by a stream during heavy rains. Cobra had likely used this natural trench for cover, but the deeper they advanced, the stronger Hathcock's instinct became. "He knows we're tracking him," he whispered to Burke. "From now on, we crawl. No silhouette, no sound." Hours later, Hathcock spotted a burrow in the distance, a hollow in the ground, cleared of leaves and twigs. He knew instantly. Too clean, too obvious. Cobra would be targeting this spot from a position across the ravine. Hathcock pulled out a map, estimating their location. "He's waiting there. We'll flank him." After more than an hour of exhausting crawling, they reached a new position above the ravine. A protective rock ledge was behind them. Hathcock scanned the terrain through his binoculars and noticed an unusually large number of birds on the ground, eating rice. A trick. Cobra had scattered the rice so the sudden flight of birds would alert him to approaching danger. "Clever," Hathcock murmured. He picked up a stick and tossed it toward the birds. They burst into the air. Then, deadly silence. The tension was thick. While the two Marines waited, Cobra silently crawled behind them. He moved along the ridge, hoping to surprise them from the rear. But as his clothing snagged on a twig, the sound gave away his position. Burke whispered urgently, "Behind us!" They immediately jumped up and ran down the slope, crashing through brush and branches. At the bottom, they paused, catching their breath. "Now we know where he is," Hathcock said calmly. "We'll get him." Slowly, they began crawling back up the slope, silent and unseen. At the same time, Cobra had taken over the Americans' abandoned position. He scanned the area through his scope. Suddenly, he spotted a tiny white speck among the leaves. The feather. He believed he had them. He relaxed, exhaled, and aimed. But Hathcock was faster. Through his own scope, he saw a fleeting glint, the reflection from Cobra's optics. One precise shot rang out from Hathcock's Winchester. Seconds later, they found Cobra's body. Hathcock's bullet had passed through both lenses of the scope and straight into Cobra's head. Burke whispered, "You shot him through the scope." Hathcock replied simply, "He saw me first. I was just faster on the trigger." Hathcock carried out many more missions. One of his most famous was tracking down the notorious female sniper known as Apache. She was allegedly responsible for torturing and executing U.S. soldiers. Hathcock located her and took her out with a single shot. But in 1969, he suffered serious injuries. An amphibious vehicle he was riding hit a landmine. He suffered severe burns, but managed to save 7 fellow Marines from the flames. For this act of heroism, he was awarded the Silver Star. Later, he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. His active career was over, but Hathcock dedicated his remaining years to training young snipers. At the Scout Sniper School in Quantico, he taught generations of Marines patience, discipline, and precision. Carlos Hathcock passed away in 1999 at the age of 56. He left behind 93 officially confirmed kills, though he believed the true number was over 300, but he always said, "I never enjoyed killing. It was my duty, so our boys could survive." His name lives on through the Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock Award, presented annually. To this day, the White Feather remains one of the greatest snipers in military history, not because of his kill count, but because of his dedication, precision, and humanity. In jungle warfare, courage and patience were essential. But for Carlos Hathcock, above all, it was about one thing: responsibility. To him, it was never a game. It was a mission: to protect his fellow Marines.